Hello and welcome to the Usability podcast. I'm Dr. Chris Parker and today we are talking about biometrics. Now, some of you might be wondering what are biometrics, and we're going to cover that in a lot of detail, but really simply, it's measuring the human body, seeing how we react. Do our fingers sweat? Do our eyes dart around? Does our pulse race? We're going to measure all of that stuff and use it to infer usability issues, how good our design is, are we making the right things happen in the right way, and all that really good stuff. So why do we need to know this in the first place? Why should we care? Well, as designers, we really want to create great experiences and remove all those really negative pain points along the way. Now, a great experience can be something that fills you with joy and you're jumping off the ceiling, having a great time, or it could be something just quite quiet and relaxing. You know, if you're going to make a yoga app's going to have really quite a narrow range of emotion. You're going to be calm, maybe relaxed, maybe feeling a bit tense with, planking effectively, but you want to feel that serenity. Go for a meditation app, even more serenity. So a great experience isn't always excitement. It can be a lack of excitement. So you got to think about that. But one thing's for certain, you want people to feel excited or feel relaxed at the times when they should feel excited or relaxed. You don't want somebody feeling really nervous and scared at a point where you need them to be focusing on getting a task done, such as making a payment on a checkout. So let's think about that way. We need to work out when we want certain emotions, certain moods, and make sure they're happening. Quite commonly, we will use think aloud, or we'll do observation and say, hey, you're using this website right now. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what you're doing. Tell me what's going through your mind. And we can do that pretty well, but that's not the full story. So we can look at where's the person looking, what's happening with their mind, what's happening in their body, and use that to kind of pinpoint things, saying, hey, I think there's something going on over here. Let's investigate that further. Let's find out more. Now, before we're going to go into how we use biometrics more, I think it's really important that I go over what are the most common forms of biometrics out there. So number one that you hear about all the time and see a lot is eye tracking. Now, either people wearing glasses or there's a sensor on the desk. It's just measuring the pupils of your eye and where you're looking on the screen. So we can say, hey, you went on the product page. The first thing you did was look at the model, and there's a lot of fixations around there. You're not really looking at the description much, not really looking at the price much. You're looking at ratings and reviews, your eyes darting around, etc. So that's what eye tracking is. And there's two kind of schools of analysis you can go down with this. The first one's going to be your just heat maps of saying, where have you looked? And these are great when you show them back to people and say, hey, I noticed that you're looking at this. Well, what was going on in your mind at that moment? So it's a great interview prompt. Or you can say, hey, we can see that someone's searching for things around this area or doing things around there, but it's not going to be some kind of gospel truth. It's just an indication of where things are going. The other thing you can do is actually get some metrics out of this. So you can highlight areas of the screen, maybe the icon, maybe the product info, whatever you really care about. And you can say, well, how long did it take somebody to notice this? How long did it take somebody to go from here to the next area in the way that we intended? Are people going through the key areas of interest at the flow rate we intend, or are they getting distracted along the way? Now, that's really useful. But let's be honest, the most common thing you want is that heat map. You walk into that boardroom and say, CEO, this is what we've been doing. This is why there needs to be a design change. The heat map's great because they can see straight away where people are looking and why. So that's the most common form. Now, there's quite a few other ones. EEG technically is biometrics. So you're wearing this kind of like big skull cap with these sensors on, so we can see what part of the brain's being lit up by what activity. Now that's quite good, but that's thousands of pounds. It's not really something you're going to be coming in contact with a lot. Whereas eye tracking, a few £100 gets you a basic kit. And it's something that if you're looking at industry, That's what industry uses as standard. Bunnyfoot, amazing consultant based in Oxford, London, and Sheffield in the UK, they really were the first people to say we're going to include eye tracking as standard. Now, they're not sponsoring this, but I really can't say enough nice things about them because they've really helped us along the way get this podcast up and running. So we got eye tracking, got EEG, galvanic skin receptors. It's just measuring the are your fingers sweating effectively? So when you're nervous, you have a sweat. When you're anxious, you're sweating. So that's improved in a useful way. It's not particularly common, and they're not overly accurate. The last one, which is really you find actually in research and industry, is pulse. So little pulse trackers like your Apple Watch or anything like that, measuring your pulse at a pretty accurate rate. And we can say, what you're doing over time. So we can say that your pulse was very low at this point, which could be good because you're relaxing. It could be very high at this point, could be very good because we want you to be excited, or could be very bad because, we want you to be relaxed, but actually you're all over the air. Now, anything you do here with pulse and eye tracking and, any other biometric, you need to know what's going on in the world around at the time. So you might have a spike in pulse. You might have a spike of random eye movement. Maybe someone stood up. Maybe there's noise happening around there. Maybe they're scared. You don't know. So you can't just take biometrics as being this great insight into what's going on. But it's also about you got to watch videos, you got to watch what they're doing and try and infer it. It's a lot more qualitative than people often get credit for. So that's what biometrics is. How can you really use it? Now, it really is purely you watch it, you look at it, you observe, and then you sort of try and ask, why could this be happening? The best way is have a video going at the same time. Go back to the video, cross-reference, say, right, the activity was this. The website they're on, there was this. The page they were on was that. What does this tell us? Now, they've got a spike here. It looks like they're anxious on their face. It looks like they're anxious from there. We interview them. We ask them, what's going on here? They confirm it. Great. We have insight. It's one tool. It's one part of the picture. And that's how to think about it. Think about it as a great part of the picture, a great toolkit, a great interview prompt. But you need those other more solid UX tools, which we're all familiar with. Now, when we go into using it, we really have to bear in mind the bigger picture. And what is the bigger picture? The bigger picture is that as humans, we are really bad at telling how other people think and feel. Now, we might see a person's face and they are looking a certain way, they're scrunching their face up, or they're smiling, or their eyes are lighting up. And we assume that, I see you making this face and you must be feeling that. I see you doing this, so you must be feeling this. And we are often completely wrong. Now, in the YouTube series that go along with this video, this podcast, Biometrics go into great detail about Amanda Knox, who was convicted of murder because her roommate was murdered. The next day she was seen acting a certain way. People went, well, she must be guilty because an innocent person wouldn't act that way. We make assumptions based on facial expression, based on what she's doing, going, where she's buying. It turned out she was just a strange person. I mean, not strange, but her inner self did not match the outer self. And that's really common. So when we try and take biometrics as being a truth, we're assuming that our body's reactions match the internal state of mind. That is not always the case. We might find somebody getting very nervous at a checkout page, not because the website is very badly designed, but because they're worried about going into overdraft, or they're already in overdraft and they need to make a payment or things. There could be a whole host of reasons why somebody's pulse is racing or eyes are darting or any of these things. So really take it with a big grain of salt. Really consider it as a tool to use. So when you do take biometrics and you put it in context with interviews, those interviews are richer. They're more in depth and worth thinking about. So that's topics for today. I hope you found this really interesting. And if you find interesting, please follow the podcast. Follow us on Twitter at UserGenDesign. Follow us on YouTube at Design eLearning Tutorials. I'm Dr. Chris Parker, and next week we're talking about satisfaction.